Go leboga mme Moradisi, mme Ngaka Pando. I prepared a very brief script. I would say my little piece very quickly, but let me first do what I have to do and bring my greetings to the Bizos family. After which, Your Excellency, the President of the Republic of South Africa, President Ramaphosa, His Eminence, Archbishop Damaskinos, the Honorable Acting Prime Minister of Gauteng. Indeed, there are several honorable ministers and other functionaries of state, Kitlisa Trompo Holuna, and indeed all Reverend clergy here present. Thank you for this morning. Friends, compatriots, leaders of our army, ladies and gentlemen, I'm truly privileged to make this brief tribute at the request of the family of Advocate George Bizos, SC, and indeed in the stead and place of our vast legal profession, the only, besides many other worthy things he has done, profession he served so meritoriously for virtually all his adult life. Our profession, the bar and the bench, are in mourning, and yet all of us are doffing our hats in deep and abiding respect as we mark the departure of one of our very finest. Alexei called me 2 days before Uncle George passed on, excuse me, saying his father is rather unwell, and I better come home to see him promptly. The call was reminiscent of the call Uncle George and I received from Mrs. Gracia Machel on that fateful night of the 5th of December, 2013. Uncle George and I both rushed to Tata Mandela's home in Houghton, but we were both a little late. So after Alexei's call, I said to Alexei, I will come to see Uncle George past Thursday at 2 p.m. On Tuesday, a tearful Alexei phoned again saying, Baba or Bapu had not made it. Again, I was late to say goodbye to Bapu. I had come to the house earlier, a few weeks before, and we took a picture which has a place of pride in my recent work, All Rise. In 65 years of friendship, a book written by George Bizos, he renders an absorbing and heartfelt account of the enduring friendship with our departed President, Rolihlahla Mandela. The friendship was founded in mutual abhorrence for injustice and inequality, and reciprocal affection, respect, and fidelity. The book narrates a riveting tale of how, in the 1950s, George Bizos and Nelson Mandela met at the University of the Witwatersrand. They both pursued postgraduate Bachelor of Laws degrees with a view to qualifying as practicing lawyers, and both were outsiders, two, if not foes, of the apartheid ruling elite. George Bizos was born Greek, was an immigrant, and sought to be admitted to South Africa, circumstances which are well known, escaping the Nazi oppression in Greece. Nelson Mandela was a denigrated citizen in his land of birth. Mandela's studies screeched at a halt because of racial profiling and proclivity of robust political activism. In contrast, George Bizos qualified joined the ranks of the practicing council. In that precast dichotomy, Nelson Mandela has become the incessant political accused and trialist for charges related to the Defiance Campaign of 1952, followed by the treason trial of 1956, his own trial to 1961, later his own trial of 1962 after the Scarlet Pimpernel escapades, and ultimately in the Rivonia trial, in which he and members of Mkhonto Wesizwe High Command were sentenced to life imprisonment. Uncle George was there all that way, if you don't know. On the other hand, George Bizos was to become a dedicated and trustworthy counsel through all these multiple trials of Nelson Mandela and other leaders, but more importantly, throughout these daunting decades of imprisonment. Over the 27 years of imprisonment in Robben Island and later at Victor Verster prisons, George Bizos visited Nelson Mandela and other leaders and unfailingly provided support for his family and filial needs. He went beyond bounds sometimes. He served as a trustworthy political envoy to Oliver Reginald Tambo and to other highly placed activists. After the release of Nelson Mandela up to ascendancy to the presidency of the Republic, their tried and tested friendship flourished, albeit in a markedly different setting. Mandela's own tribute to the enduring bond between him and George Bizos appears in his affectionate foreword in George Bizos' biography, Odyssey to Freedom. Their close companionship persisted for another 23 years, from the freeing of Mandela from prison to his passing on again on that fateful night of the 5th of December 2013. For one thing, my 10 years imprisonment on Robben Island coincided with Tata's presence there and George Bizos' frequent visits to him. However, I met Uncle Bizos only after my release, and I became an attorney and later a practicing advocate and a member of the bar, and I became his chief and prime junior in cases I'll say a few things about. Only a few examples will suffice. Together with Uncle Bizos, we did much. We successfully defended Dr. Fabian Ribeiro, facing charges of abetting and harboring members of Mkhonto Wesizwe. And later, he was killed by army intelligence. So too his wife, Comrade Ferenc Ribeiro. We together defended Tamim Kwanazi and the young Ronima Mweba, yet to become the renowned communicator and activist. May his soul rest in peace. And other ANC activists, I'm afraid without success, they went to prison. We successfully appeared for Ingwapele Madingwani, the famed author of the anthology Africa My Beginning, charged for possessing his own banned publication, i.e. his own poem. Together we defended Zolakhe Sisulu, Lalangoxolo Fokabao, fearless and inimitable editor of The New Nation. After his release, Nelson Mandela asked Bizos, Dr. Bizos passed Langa, and who later became our Chief Justice, again may he rest in peace, and me to defend his wife, Nomzamo Winifred Madikizela Mandela, in the so-called Stombi charges. I had to live, and I did, with great privilege, with Uncle Bizos for 6 months as we defended Comrade Nomzamo. When it was not all fashionable, particularly to white South Africans, George Bizos chose the side of the powerless, of the tormented, and the oppressed. He chose the side of the village of Bakaping, people near Zeerust, who were facing apartheid evictions. And he tells marvelous stories about his interaction with the chief of Bakaping. He resisted the eviction with and for them. He chose the side of Neil Agat, didn't he? The side of Amel Timol in the inquiry into the mysterious and callous deaths in police custody. He was there for the family of Steve Bantu Biko as they searched for circumstances of Bantu's murder in police cells, and so too into the death of the Craddock Four, who disappeared in police hands with no trace whatsoever. And in a happier time with Uncle Bizos, we went onto the boat that ferried me to Robben Island, this time to go and appear for our colleagues and comrades who were on strike on Robben Island, who demanded to be released immediately after Mr. President, the CODESA agreement had been signed. And at the Truth and Reconciliation Commission, he battled for several victims of our inhumane apartheid system. As though he had not done enough, Judge Bizos was there for the families of the miners who were killed at Marikana. Comes the time to retire and to rest. No, 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 not for Baba Bizos. He served as House Counsel for the Legal Resources Center, and we thank the center for having housed him the way he did and having inducted a George Bizos Award for Human Rights. And I'm ever thankful for being the first recipient of the award after him. What a stamina, what resilience, what steadfastness, what dogged commitment to justice, to freedom, to others with whom he had no racial or ethnic or ephemeral or external attributes. He cared only because they too were human. He deeply hated oppression, inequality, and unfairness to his deathbed. In the time I became a judge of the High Court and later Justice of the Constitutional Court and finally the Deputy Chief Justice, every time Uncle George Bizos appeared before me as counsel in the Constitutional Court, I suffered the deep awkwardness of a mentee, which I was. I, who sat at his feet and learned so much, called upon to judge, my seasoned dawn, leader and master. George continued to remind me in his note that we had now both become close friends, perhaps in my case a son of Tata Madiba Mandela. For many years, Tata Madiba sought our joint advice on a whole range of matters. We advised him in relation to his litigation with his erstwhile attorney, sadly against two of his children, and we had perforce to litigate against his former wife. He appointed us as joint and executors to his will, the deceased estate. When I sought to come and visit Alexei at the house, I had said to you I'd hoped that you'd be able to sign the final document that have to be filed with the master to conclude the estate, Yagatata Umatiba Mandela. As I said, I bemoaned the fact that I came late. And we are both trustees in his family trust and are obliged to look after Mr. Mandela's affairs and beneficiaries to his trust. In a sense, Tata Mandela joined me and Tata Bizos at the hip. As I conclude, let me remind you that he was not all fire and brimstone. He was human. Out of that garden, Damon, we had that salad cut up and chopped up, and your mother would move to the kitchen and bake that fresh Greek bread and with olive oil, and would feed on the salad and chopped and the bread. And he would insist that he wants to tell a story, and he'd say to me, you listen, it is a genuine Greek village story. When you are in a Greek village and you want to sell a donkey, you better spread a rumor that you want to buy a donkey. And I'd say, Uncle George, why? And he says, you better do that. That is the rumor you must spread around. You quickly come to know what is the going rate, what is the going prices, so that you can buy your donkey within proper limits. At his 80th birthday at Saheti, those who were there will remember, and Sophia, you will remember that, for which he did so much, Saheti School, for which he did so much to found and to grow, and to ensure above all that it is integrated. It admitted children who were non-Greek and were principally African children. We all heartily sang birthday to you, Uncle George, and you were in your thoughts, in your spirit, and you gave a full account of yourself. But to my surprise, at my mother's 90th birthday, you, Baba George, there you appeared, right there, not in the middle of Sandton or some fancy place, in a village called Mabopane in the northwest. And there you were hugging my mother to come and celebrate her 90th birthday with you, only 2 years ago. You were a remarkable human being. You cared so much for others. And I am deeply proud that I lived so close to your life. Our profession will sorely miss you. I hope, particularly to all those young lawyers, we will draw and drink from that eternal fountain of high values. High values that is shared with none other than our founding Chief Justice, Arthur Charles Colson. Your life has to remind all you lawyers, and indeed all you young people, what it is to live fully, to live vigorously, to live with principle, to live well, and mainly for others. Good night, Ntate Bizos, Samasin Clara, Robalaka Kagiso, and I wish you strength, Damon Alexi, and indeed all the children, as well as your absent brother. I thank you.